So my lecture is about Hebrew names in Phoenician inscriptions. So Phoenicians were Semitic people centered on the coastline of modern Lebanon here, which was the Levant. They were remarkable in seafaring achievements, and they were also Phoenician establishments, as we can see, in all the Mediterranean Sea from the east to the west. And we found in all these regions Phoenician inscriptions, and in these Phoenician inscriptions we found Hebrew and Jewish names. This includes Yahvistic names. We expose here by region and by chronology the attestations of Jewish and Hebrew names in these Phoenician inscriptions, first in the Levant, after in Memphis, and finally in Cyprus. So first, I would talk about a fragmentary plate which was found in Sidon here, the ancient city of Saida in Lebanon now. Okay, it was found in 2012 in Saida. So I'm sorry for the bad quality of the picture, but it's unpublished. This fragmentary plate is dated from the 8th century BC, as regards of the letters. As we can see, there is an obvious line of Phoenician inscriptions and all around other letters, but I can't read it. Okay, so the transcription of the line is Misbechet Abod Avad Yahu. So the he is not, we can see it very well, but I reconstruct it so as the Vav. Okay, so it can mean altar of Abod Yahu, Avad Yahu, which means servant of Yahoo. And this is common name in Phoenician. The construction of the name is common in Phoenician with the first term Avad and a divine name. Here, what is very surprising is that we have the divine name Yahoo. I can't exclude the possibility of that it will be a sentence and not a name. So Misberet Avad Yahoo, altar of the servant of Yahoo. But the hypothesis of a name is for me the most convincing. Okay, now the second inscription which mentions a Jew in Phoenician inscriptions is in Memphis, near the Delta in Egypt. Here we found an ostracon at the beginning of the 20th century. I have no picture and no photography because only Magnanini mentions it in his book, Iscrizioni Fenicie dell'Oriente. He dates it from the 5th, 4th century BC, and now it's mainly in the Cairo Museum in Egypt. So this is the transcription and the translation of Magnanini. He reads a first name here, and Ben Yehuchanan, son of Yehuchanan. I can't reconstruct it because there are lots of possibilities, but the name of the father is a purely Yahvistic name, meaning Yahweh is gracious, from the root Hanan, to be gracious. Okay, we found in Memphis some Phoenician inscriptions on objects, and we know that there were Phoenician settlements that were built in the Delta during the Iron Age, where Herodotus mentioned a part of the city called the Tyrian Camp, and in which a temple of Ashtart was founded. So we know that in Memphis, and with this attestation, that in the 5th, 4th century, Phoenicians were living with Jews. Now I want to speak about the marble headstones of Larnaca, from Larnaca. We know that in Kition, here in Cyprus, there was a big community of Phoenician. Some authors speak about a colony. I prefer to speak about an establishment. And in 1979, were discovered at Agios Georgios Mnimata, which is the archaeological site near Kition, 5 marble head tombstone with Phoenician inscriptions in the same cemetery, which was uncovered by the Department of Antiquities. So in this cemetery, we found 5 inscriptions, and it was used during the Kipro-Archaic II, Kipro-Classical, and Hellenistic periods. We found around 60 excavated tombs, and they have common features as rectangular shape, a barred chapel roof, and a stepped dromos. The corpses were buried on sarcophagi or placed directly on the floor. 3 of these 5 inscriptions contains Jewish names. Okay, the first inscription it's a single line Phoenician inscription. It's dated from the 4th century BC, depending on the paleography, and it's now in the Larnaca Museum. Okay, we can read Li Matan Ashtart ben Azaryahu ben Mutun ben Shalom Shilem Rav Asofrim. For Matan Ashtart, son of Azaryahu, son of Mutun, son of Shalom, chief of the scribes. So the first name is a purely Phoenician name, which maybe the phonology is not certain, so it will be Matan or Matan Ashtart. It's the first time attestation of the name. But the name of his father is here a purely Hebrew Yavistic name, Azaryahu, Yahu helped. And this name is more frequently encountered in the Old Testament and in Hebrew and Jewish epigraphy source of the pre-exilic and Persian times, see Lemer, Avigad, and Kornfeld. The fact that there is 3 letters for the divine name Yahweh shows that Azaryahu comes from Judea or maybe from Elephantine, in which a big community of Judeo-Aramean were living during the Persian period. As for the names which follow as Matan, Mutun, and Shalom, Shilem, there is a problem because both of them are in all the Semitic language, are attested in all the Semitic language. As Matan in Phoenician, we found it in Aramaic, in Ugaritic, in Hebrew, in Palmyrenian, in Amorit, for example. And it's the same for Shalom, Shalom, Shilem. We found it in Phoenician, Punic, Neo-Punic, in Aramaic, in Ugaritic. So we can say if the 2 names of this genealogy are Phoenician or Jew. But as for me, as regards this name, this will be a purely Jewish genealogy. The second inscription is also a single-line Phoenician inscription. It's also dated from the 4th century BC and now in the Larnaca Museum. We can read Li Shalom ben Asafyahu, for Shalom, son of Asafyahu. So here we have the same problem with the name Shalom, Shalom, Shilem, because we don't know if it's Phoenician, it can be Phoenician or Jew. And after, the name of the father is here, purely Yavistic name. And Asafyahu means Yahweh gathered from the root Asaph, to collect together. We have the name Asaph in the book of the Persian period, and it's attested as Asaph, Asphai. Asafyahu is new. It's the first attestation of the name, and we have also here the 3 letters, so this leads us to Judah or to Elephantine. The last inscription is very beautiful. It's a marble headstone found in the same archaeological context and which is also dated from the 4th century BC. This is a 3-line Phoenician inscription carved in the space between the anthemion and the carved decoration here. Very beautiful. This is the inscription. And we can easily read it's okay. Amitzbat ze esh itena balrom ben eshmunadon ben luva li abi li eshmunadon ben luva ben balrom ben luva wali ami li sham rabatai bat ashtartiaton ben mutun ben padai. as I translate it as this tombstone that erected Balram, son of Eshmunadon the Luvian, for his father, for Eshmunadon, son of Balram the Luvian, and for his mother, for Isham Rabatai, daughter of Ashtartiaton, son of Mutun, son of Padai. So the two first names, Balram and Eshmunadon, are well attested in Phoenician and really common. But there is here a problem because here Eshmunadon is Ben Luva, and after it's Balram, who is Ben Luva. So as for me, Luva is here the Levite. It's an ethnonic name. It's not a purely anthroponym. So some commentators say that the Aleph was an anormal orthography for a Yod, Levi, so it will be the Levite, but I don't think so too. I think that it's for the Luvian. And we know also that Phoenicians were settled in Anatolia during the 5th, 4th century BC. So Eshmunadon and Balram maybe come from Anatolia. And there is another problem. It's the name of the mother, because I read it as a single name, Isham Rabatai, for Isham is my mistress, but some authors read it differently as Isham, Ishmar, Batai, but as for me, it's a single name, Isham Rabatai, which sounds very Aramaic. As for me, so it's a name, Isham is my mistress. It will be the first attestation of this name. And Isham may be the idol deity of the Orontes, attested in the Old Testament, 2 Kings 17:30, and probably in Amos 8:14. Or the Assyrian Babylonian goddess Ishum. What is interesting here is that the constituent Isham, the element Isham, is also attested in the Judeo-Aramean onomastics from Elephantine. The name of the father is Phoenician, and after, Mutun and Padai can be both Phoenician or Jew. So we have here maybe a mixed genealogy between a Jewish Judeo-Aramaic girl and Phoenicians. From a morphological point of view, we have here the demonstrative article, which is just a Zain, but it's not really useful in Cyprus in the 4th century BC, because in all the inscriptions, in all the Phoenician inscriptions, we have Ez with a prosodical Aleph, and this may indicate that we have here a non-native scribe of Cyprus. So a mix of population with this beautiful tombstone. On the wall, we found Jewish names in 3 regions. Both attestations in the Levant and in Egypt appears as singular exceptions, but they reveal the old relations and the proximity between these two communities, Jews and Phoenicians. The case of Cyprus is more interesting. In the same archaeological site, we found 2 other inscriptions in Phoenician, and they mention Greek names. So there was a burial place common for Jews and non-Jews. The fact that they are tombstones reveal a permanent installation of Jews in the Phoenician community during the 4th century BC. We have seen genealogies that mix Phoenician and Jewish names. This shows that they were not very influenced by the reform of Ezra and Nehemiah. This is the same thing for Jews in Egypt during the Persian period. So, for Michael Elzer, the origin of this Jew in Kition is Judah. As he noted, biblical passages mentions Kittim, and there were permanent contacts between Judah and Kition, a passage of Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, for example. Also, we found the mention of Kittim in the Arad Ostrakon. I agree with this position, but as for me, as regards linguistics facts and archaeological facts, I think that these Jews were originally from Elephantine in Egypt. Why? Because we have Phoenician evidence in Elephantine in these periods. This consists of 60 fragmentary wine amphorae from excavation carried out in the Jewish quarter. Okay, we found Phoenician inscription in the Jewish quarter in Elephantine, which are dated from the 5th century BC. And I think that they came from Elephantine. Maybe they settled a little in Memphis, and after they goes to Kition. So we have 3 regions where Phoenician and Jews lived together in the Persian period: Elephantine, Memphis, as we've seen, and Kition. This leads maybe to the existence of a trade route from Elephantine to Kition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have some time.
Thank you, Elodi. A very nice discussion of the material. A few comments. First, name that you brought up, Matan Shtoret.
Yes.
His name, Ben Shalim or Shalom Ben Matan. What we're looking at here is an interesting phenomenon, particularly of the Persian period, of toponymy.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that we've seen that in this inscription. I think you have the second inscription as well, where
Yes.
also from Monica, where the toponymy plays into the names, understanding the names. And in this case, in the first case, in Matan Ashtoret, where you have definitely a Phoenician name, and we're asking ourselves, well, what about the father of Azariyahu? It's interesting that the divine element is not used here. So it might be an aspect of an early assimilation of this family in that context. The other point that I wanted to mention is that in a Phoenician inscription, you also have the relative particle, zayin, z, asher, right?
Yes.
Right? And you commented on it, but I remember all that you said about it. You have the, where is it?
Demonstrative.
There it is, the second word.
Yes, and here it's
Mizrahat,
the
whatever that
relative.
means, yeah.
Yes.
And you said you have z, yes?
Yes, here it's Z, it's just Zain, but in Cyprus in the 4th century BC, I found all the time as with prosthetic aleph. With prosthetic aleph.
Ash.
As.
Az.
Lo Zain. Here it's just Zain.
Zayin, yes. Now,
So for me there is,
It's not Zu, it's Ze.
pardon me?
Here it's Ze.
Here is
Zo.
Zet.
It's Ze, or Zo.
No, here,
It's not Zu.
no, here's the Asher.
The Ze, Asher.
Asher.
You have both.
after it's
Yeah.
the
You
relative,
have
yes.
both. You have Ze, Ash. Right? You have
How
both
do you
the Zayin and
understand, how do
Ash.
you understand the Ash?
What?
Aleph Shin.
Aha, it was the ice. Okay.
Here,
All right. Okay. No comment.
okay.
All right.